A modern-day equivalent of defending yourself in court is basically being able to defend yourself in a public platform on the internet. I know that obviously there might be hyperbole in that statement, but the reason why I am here today is because I wanted to talk about something incredibly important, something imperative in the online landscape, and something that more and more people like being able to control. I feel like people are recognizing the power that the internet gives every individual in order to protect themselves, defend themselves, and basically justify their own actions, and a lot more companies and people in positions of power are trying their absolute best to silence those that could potentially harm their reputation. People are used to being able to just control narratives via money and power, and people really don't like the fact that, well, unfortunately, everyone with a voice and a phone can essentially get their message out to millions. Unfortunately, this has been going on far too much, and I think being that we recognize the world as an internet landscape where anyone could say anything, sometimes people don't say things, and people take that silence to mean defeat. People accept that silence as admitting to their failure, to their crimes, when that's very often not the case. Being silenced on a popular platform, being silenced on the internet is far more dangerous in many ways than it ever was before, because being that people accept the fact that you should be able to defend yourself publicly, more often than not, this silencing that goes on goes unnoticed and is accepted as taking the L, as it were. It goes to extremes to the point that every time some YouTuber or whatever is being accused of some heinous crime, it's immediately guilty until proven innocent. But most of those YouTubers at least have the ability to defend themselves and prove their innocence. Today we are taking a deep dive down into a dark, dim, decrepit rabbit hole. I had enough of being silenced. It's time to nut all over the situation. It's time to be toxic to toxic people. It's time to buckle your seatbelts and get ready, because this has been a long time coming. For me, making this video is kind of equivalent to finding something amazing to beat it to on like the 500th page of the hub. A true diamond in the rough, a gem among the shite. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this video up for a long time, to be honest. It might be on my Patreon and I might remove it after a little bit, so feel free to pay attention. It's time to open a lid on the only thing in this world more mysterious than a woman. The silencing practices of massive companies. So there's this big VTuber group by the name of Nijisanji. It's basically the biggest or second biggest in the world. It's based in Japan, and they have a lot of contractual obligations. Recently, they banned a VTuber by the name of Zion. Zion was terminated from this group, and well, they basically aired out a laundry list of crimes that this VTuber did. When you read this list of stuff and the reason why Zion was banned from Nijisanji, you start to think to yourself, whoa, wait a minute. This person's the Antichrist. When I was reading through all the things that she did, I was half surprised it didn't include the fact that she probably incited the Fire Nation to attack the other nations in Avatar. It was incredibly and extraordinarily kind of them to not include the fact that she is the one that gave the Infinity Stones to Thanos too. But obviously, after releasing this Giga Chad of a laundry list, obviously the entire world is going against her. She is like obviously evil if she's done all these horrible things. And well, of course, Zion didn't respond for a long time. Well, things have changed. Now, Zion, of course, did not respond because Zion is a character created by Nijisanji. This is a company that created a character, and, well, that character ceases to exist the moment that character is terminated from their project. In fact, in the contract itself, no one is even allowed to claim that they are Zion after the fact. So how could you actually defend yourself if you can't even claim that you are the person that was terminated? Well, a VTuber by the name of Sayu, who sounds a lot like Zion, but is definitely not Zion, because clearly not Zion. Zion is gone and dead, 6 feet under. Nijisanji pulled a Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter, brought a shovel to the fight before it even began. And Sayu releases a massive 4 bajillion page document disproving a lot of these claims made by Nijisanji. This is something that is unprecedented in the corporate VTuber world and pretty much in the idol world as a whole. In Japan, they view VTubers kind of like idols, where they're owned by their management and nothing they say can possibly be said or used in any possible way against the company. What the company says, their word is law. And, well, to some extent, it does protect the company from bad and malevolent actors, so I kind of understand that. But on the other hand, it really is taking the power away from the people to such a large extent that any talent that is blackballed by Nijisanji, well, they will have no possible defense. Many people have been sued by this company in the past for, defamation or breach of contract, and it's understandably why people are scared to do this kind of thing. Every time there's some sort of Nijisanji drama going on, all the Nijisanji members flood Twitter with, man, I do love my family over here at Nijisanji, and stuff like that. You can no longer really trust exactly what people say, what is coming from this talent that you're watching, or what is maybe coming from the company. Now, I mean absolutely no ill will towards any of the talent. This is the contract that they're signing, and I don't even mean ill will to the company per se, it's just business. However, it's really nice to see that finally, after a landscape of everyone being silenced, after so many people are being kicked out of different groups and different areas, Zion didn't say anything, but some things were said in Zion's name, because Zion doesn't exist. And she was able to debunk a lot of the claims against her. Of course, I will be linking her document below so you can actually check it out if you want to. And I'm not a drama channel that's just reading shiz out for y'all. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm a man making insightful commentary in the world that I feel like a lot of people aren't really oomphing into. But this era of silencing finally took a massive hit to the gonads in a system where no one wants to tussle with the muscle. It's really nice to see the muscle tussled with. And I know a thing or two about muscle. Not that I have any, but tomboy hentai is peak. A lot of the claims on the actual laundry list of Nijisanji, like, claiming that she was sponsored by a game, turns out it wasn't that she was claiming being sponsored by a game. She said in a video that, oh, this video is sponsored by D's Nuts. I do love D's Nuts a lot. Oh, D's Nuts are hilarious. And there's an actual company that's the name of the company is D's Nuts. And they were like, haha, you can't claim that you are sponsored by D's Nuts, which is the most ridiculous, obviously sarcastic thing that could possibly be said in a stream. However, in the context that it was put in the Nijisanji firing notice, it was you were claimed to be sponsored by a company. And this really thin twisting of words was used for the majority of the claims that Nijisanji actually gave in regards to Zion's termination. I hope there is no lawsuit coming, although I would not be surprised if there is. All of Zion's document thingy that was released was completely looked over by lawyers 100%. So I really hope everything is completely safe and secure on that end. I do not want any stress or trouble coming that way. In an era of people being silenced, this is a massive dub for the people that just can't shut up, which is people like me. I am suffering from that very same disease. In past dramas that I've had, I have been threatened by my adversaries, and they basically said, if you promise to never mention any of X people ever again, we will calm things down for you. To which I declined, obviously. But if that happened to me, alright, little old me, then obviously these silencing practices are massively widespread, and they don't just come in contractual terms either. It's not just if you're the talent of a company, the company is going to use everything they possibly can to silence you and to prevent your perspective getting out, so the company is completely in the right. Obviously that happens every single time anything happens. You saw with the FaZe clan collapsing just recently, all these different FaZe members started coming out with their stories that they weren't able to talk about earlier. And it's not just groups. There are so many ways to manipulate narratives in today's day and age on the internet, it is disgusting. For example, copyright. Copyright has become a weapon being wielded by people left and right because they can use this evil weapon to silence criticism. There is a friend of mine, he's been on the Some Ordinary podcast, podcast that I host every week. I'm not going to say who it is specifically because it's not my business to be the one to publicize it, but basically, he used a 5-second clip in like an hour-long video, and the clip belonged to someone else. That guy struck the video, and not only did he strike the video, but he basically said, if you don't pay me X amount of thousands of dollars, I will not only not unstrike the video, but I will take you to court over this, and you will be bankrupt. And the dude had to actually fork over a couple $1,000s to get this guy to basically remove the claim. You have villains in the YouTube sphere recently just dropping 3 strikes on a channel because, well, they just don't like him. You have other villains on YouTube like Quantum TV, who's been arrested, also do the same thing, where he's basically just copyright striking criticism. This isn't exactly news. Copyright abuse has been popular on YouTube for the last millennia. Ever since YouTube basically lost a massive lawsuit and decided, you know what, I don't want to stick my butt into copyright disputes, you guys could just fight it out in court if you want. It's just been brutal for everyone because it's an incredibly easy system to take advantage of. People get banned on platforms because of their incredibly loose breaking of the rules, whether you're Leafy, bullying Pokebane, and you get banned because of videos like that. Or you're Andrew Tate, and you get banned on YouTube because you're basically a misogynist and you say women are property, which I mean, I can sort of see why this dude got banned. But anyway, I digress. The point is, we're living in a world where you feel like every piece of information you're given could be disputed by your opponent. Every time someone says something, well, what they're saying must be true because if it was false, whoever they're saying it about could just basically come back around and fight back and drop the receipts. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Being silenced is an incredibly real and prevalent issue in the modern landscape on the internet, where it feels like everyone could say everything. And that's one of the things that makes the internet and internet discourse so great. Unfortunately, it's just not the case. Unfortunately, there's so much silencing going on behind the scenes, a lot of people don't recognize the fact that what you're seeing is not always the full story. The logic of, well, if it's not true, the other guy will just respond is not always an accurate response or metric to judge veritability on. There's a YouTuber by the name of Kavos that made videos basically attacking Deji for subbotting, and, well, Deji sued him under slander laws that are in the UK, and the dude had to take his videos down because, well, he got sued. That, again, is silencing that is not actually viewed in the public eye. I mean, I think that the public eye would see something like that and be like, well, you know, I guess I made a mistake. Guess he didn't subbot. I'm gonna remove these videos. I'm gonna not talk about this ever again. I'm gonna never mention Deji's name ever again. When actually it's a court-mandated thing and, you know, someone who can't actually go up against this dude in court, and he's just willing to take that L for the sake of not completely using all of his money and all of his funds to fight a losing battle in court. This is all alleged. I've heard this word of mouth. I don't know if it's true. Allegedly, this went on. I could give you example after example of just the world collapsing around you, where all of a sudden, everyone thinks that one side is right and the other side is wrong because the wrong side should just dispute what's being said. Very, very often, that is just not an option. In the VTuber world, you have Nijisanji doing this kind of stuff, and I don't want to talk about, like, random rumors and stuff that I've heard about Yugo that might have been substantiated, a previous talent that left Nijisanji and didn't say anything about why he left. Let's not talk about that one. Hopefully that truth will get revealed at some point to the public. In the modern day, platforms silencing people because they go against their agenda, or whether it's copyright silencing people just through abusive measures, or it's silencing people via lawsuits where they unfortunately just don't have the leg to stand on to fight back. Whether it's silencing people because you are a massive company and they signed rights to you. On an internet landscape where it looks like everything is cut and dry and everyone has a voice, unfortunately, the sad and dark truth is not everyone does. I feel like this was a really important video to make because this is a side of a story that I feel like a lot of people haven't seen or heard. It's almost like this side of the story is a side of the story that's been silenced. If you could do me a favor and silently hit that subscribe button, it would be incredibly appreciated. I am being shadow banned. I'm not saying silenced, maybe it was a mistake, but this channel's freaking shadow banned, and I proved it in my The End video, which I posted a couple of weeks ago if you want to see that one. And I don't know if this video is going to be around forever. I might be taking it down and putting it on Patreon only. I'm still up in the air about that. So definitely help me out on Patreon if you'd like. I'm glad I have a platform to actually say things that I think are important to be said in a landscape where unfortunately so much is not. And remember to stay weird, fam.